Commissioners, we are meeting on this time to take care of the business of our county. Okay. Thank you, board members, for being present. We thank you for your attending. We thank all of you for coming and sharing with us. By your coming, it let us know that you're interested in your county and making sure that our county government is one that is operating smoothly. At this time, I'd like to call for a moment of silence. If you would, at this time, just take a moment to reflect. At this time, if you would, please stand with me as we do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. Let me assure you that our board members, Ms. Boone is with us virtually by phone, and Mr. Edwards likewise had to leave. He's with us virtually by phone. Let me say to all of you that's present and those who are listening in, and we appreciate your listening in, we appreciate your comments that you give us. Let me assure you that we are about the business of Northampton County. There is a mission statement that we have. It's posted behind us. I would dare not read it to you, for you, but letting you know that we are about a mission. And our mission is to make sure that we do everything that we do is decent and in order. I want to say that we also have on the side a vision statement talking about where it is that we desire for our county to go. This Board of Commissioners adopted this some years ago, 4 years ago, and they have lived up to this creed, and we're here tonight just to continue to make sure that we live up to what it is that we said we would do. So every meeting we have, we go over our mission statement, we go over our vision statement to assure everyone that we are on board with what we say and what we do. At this time, board members, if you are ready to begin to proceed, I will ask you at this time to approve the approval of the agenda. You have before you the agenda for tonight. We do know that there's a lot of pages in this package tonight, but this is a part of what the presentations are about. At this time, we have the approval agenda. Do any member of this Board of Commissioners at this time would have us to add or subtract from this agenda? Are there any items on this agenda that we need to delete? Are there any items that we perhaps need to add? If not, I would ask for a motion at this time that the approval of the agenda as printed.
Chairman Tyner, I make a motion that we approve the agenda for June 21st, 2021 as presented.
Vice Chairman Fortman has made a motion. Could I have a second?
Second, Buffalo.
Second, Ms. Buffalo, that we would approve the agenda as given. Are there any questions or any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by usual sign aye.
Aye.
I, Faulkner.
Aye, Edwards.
Okay, ayes have it, motion is carried. Thank you so much. As a conflict of interest, making sure that there are no conflicts in accordance with the rules and procedures adopted by the board in section 153A44 of the North Carolina Journal Statute, it is the duty of every member present to vote on all matters coming before the board, unless there's a conflict of interest as determined by the board or by law. Does any board member have a conflict of interest with respect to any agenda item coming before the board today? If so, please identify the conflict and the board will consider the matter.
No conflict, Faulkner.
No conflict, Buffalo.
No conflict, Boone. No conflict, Edwards.
Thank you. At this time, we'll go to tab 5. Tab 5 talks about the FY 2021-22 Northampton County Proposed Budget Ordinance. At this time, board members, you had an opportunity. We've had several meetings to discuss this. We've gone by and met the requirements of the law to have a public hearing. We've had the budget placed in places in the county as required by law, letting it be there so that people could see it for 10 days. It was in our libraries, I know. It's been in our county office. And we want you to know that this budget has been looked at by citizens and by, of course, by you. We made those changes that you, the board, decided that they would make. And tonight is the night I ask you, if you would, to give us a motion, if it's your pleasure, that we would adopt this budget that we have before us.
Chairman Turner, I make a motion that we approve the 21-22 budget that has been, as you stated, available for public comment, viewing, and commissioner additions, deletions.
Okay. We had a motion by Vice Chair. Could I have a second? Mr. Edwards, Commissioner Edwards. Thank you, Commissioner Edwards. Are there any questions or any discussion about the budget? A little over $29 million. Are there any questions? If not, all in favor of the budget as given, let it be known by usual sign aye.
Aye, Buffalo.
I Faulkner.
I Boone.
Aye, Edwards.
Ayes have it. Motion is carried. Thank you so much, board members. We've been through this together and we made it. And I believe the budget is a good budget for our county. It's looking at our expenditures and income from this previous year and looking at where we want to go as far as growth is concerned. Two important things that's in this budget. One is that we did increase our taxes by another 0.5% in this budget. That's what we promised our citizens that we would do. Also in this budget is the elimination of where we thought there perhaps would be any waste, things that we could do without. And we did that. And we had all the department chairs to work with us, and all have said they are satisfied and they can work with the budget that they presented and that we're presenting tonight. So again, thank you, citizens of this county. Thank you for working with us, helping us as we move our county to where we desire for it to be. Who would ever thought that we in Northampton County would have this size budget? But here we are, over $1.5 million more than even last year. At this time, we will move forward, and I could go on and say much about that, because it is the small businesses in this county has really worked with us. Small businesses. I want to say to all of our small business owners, thank you. Thank you for all that you're doing. I want to thank you for all that you're doing and helping us to bring in revenue in our county. And it is paying off. To all of our citizens, buy in Northampton County. Buy in Northampton County. At this time, let me move forward. We have the solar operations and maintenance and broadband services. Mr. Curtis Wynn, nationally known president, CEO of Roanoke Electric Cooperative, and we're so glad you take that off. We're so glad to have you come tonight and share with us. And I just want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to share with us that we need to know, and perhaps we can ask you some questions.
Absolutely.
That we really are anxious to have some answers to.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman Tyner.
Yes, sir.
For having me once again, commissioners,
Yes.
attorney, and staff. I appreciate the opportunity to see that you do have a busy schedule tonight, and I have two presentations, but the first one I'll go pretty fast with, and that's just to let you know, in addition to talking about the broadband services, which I think is what you have the most interest in, is another service that we're offering at the co-op, and it's called Solar Operations and Maintenance. And I guess I have the ability to advance the slides. I think we do have some slides, but I'll just talk through these. I just wanted you all to know that we at Roanoke Electric have created another division of the organization using the people, the line technicians mostly, we have to expand their skills to work on solar plants, the big ones. And we're doing business in quite a few places. Actually, Duke Energy, their solar division is using our services. We're taking care of solar plants all over the state for the electric co-ops, from Murphy to Manio, as they say. And we have some other company, another company called Baywa, that is working with us. And we get called on quite a bit. And what you see with solar plants is you see all of the panels, but eventually it's got to hit those electric lines. And that's where we are best. We know how to do that. That's what our folks do every day. They work on high voltage lines and they love it. And when you have a problem getting all that energy that's in those panels back to the solar, the electric lines, that's when they call on us most often. So I wanted you to know that we have that service, and we're looking for more business locally. It creates jobs. It helps us retain the people we have. Our guys used to make a lot of overtime, but the electric system is in a lot better shape today than it was in the past. So they don't get a lot of overtime. They like it, but they don't get it on the electric side. But this solar O&M service that we've provided has allowed them to really get to do more, and they're really eager to do it. You have it in your handout. You can look over the information. It just tells you a lot about what I've already said, so I won't repeat that, but they're safe, they're dependable, and we're trying to expand that business. So to the extent that you can help us with that, as solar developers come in and they promise you that they're going to create local jobs, to build a facility is one thing. Those jobs come and they go as soon as the facility is built. Mm-hmm. But when there's a need to keep these facilities maintained here in the county, you have a resource. And we're pitching to some of those companies to say, hey, let us as a local company have the solar operations and maintenance contract so that we can keep these people locally employed full time and handle that for you. And they're very capable of doing that. So I just wanted to share that with you, just as information. So let me go to the Roanoke Connect Holdings, and this is printed as page 33 on the handout that you have. And I figured I'd just share with you some of the things that I would imagine that you're most interested in. And first of all is where are we with the project? On page 34 at the top, it shows you the pending build-out locations. And what you see is the green lines represent places within the county that have our service. And that little blue section is what's remaining for 2021. You don't have in front of you what we're planning to do for 2022. And what I would expect is that this pace that we've already started, which we have in Northampton County, it looks like somewhere in the 200 and something connections right there on the pie chart that's next to it. The color coding is a little bit hard to read, but I believe the dark green is what represents Northampton County. We have about 25% of the hookups that we already have are here in the county. We have about 235 people. We hope to get that number up. What we've been doing for the last several months is getting the broadband infrastructure put in place. We made a lot of progress, and now we're getting ready to really speed that up. One thing that's going to help us speed that up is we just added to our staff a new vice president that's going to actually run the broadband business. I wanted to tell you that to let you know just how committed we are to that. We're bringing a gentleman in that has built several companies, broadband companies. I think I've shared with you in the past that I've been in the utility business for a long time. I know electricity, but I'll be the first to admit that this is new. But we've come far enough along, and we've invested quite a bit to the point that our board and our executive team have decided that it's time to bring a person on board that's going to do this full time. They're going to live, breathe, and make this their main priority to build this program out to be what it can be. So be on the lookout. Hopefully, if you invite me back, Chairman Tyner, the next time I come back, I'll have that person with me and you can meet Robert Bo Coughlin, who is his name, Robert Bo Coughlin. If you want to look him up on LinkedIn, you can find him out there on the internet and see a little bit about him yourself. The next slide, and it's right underneath the map, speaks about the investment that we made here in Northampton County. We did receive a grant award from the state of about $500,000. But on top of that, if you look at the number on the right, in Northampton County, we've invested about $2.8 million in broadband. Now, you don't see it on the map, but what you don't see is the infrastructure that's necessary to get this going, such as in those red dots, we put actual buildings, we call them huts, that control. They're like the nerve center. So you can't build the broadband until you get those nerve centers put in place. And that's where we've made a lot of that investment in those huts that has electronics, that has all of the smartness that's necessary to draw these lines out across the county. And we've got about 12 of those that we've done across the whole system that when we serve all 5 of our counties. So that's been a lot of what's happening. So we got those in place. We're at a place now that we can actually move out and start putting the broadband out. Some of it will be fiber, what's called fiber optic cables. And a lot of it's going to be fixed wireless. It's going to be a wireless connection so that it can send that signal without having to spend as much money to do that. I was out this weekend working with the team, and we put up this new technology that I'm referring to called fixed wireless, and we got it connected to one of the homes, and the speed that we got back from that feeds off of the fiber is about 90 megabits per second, both directions. They call it symmetrical. So that's fast speeds. If you have internet at your home, you probably can do a speed test to see what you're getting. But 90 is pretty fast. With the fiber that we have, you can get up to 1,000 megabits per second. They call it a gigabit. We're not going to be able to put that all over the county. We are going to get fast, dependable broadband that will allow you to stream videos, to do what you're doing tonight, and for the kids to do their homework without problems, for you to do telemedicine without problems. So all of that you'll be able to do that. If you go to the next slide, is just really, we're getting really to the questions. I want to sum it up with this. What we are beginning to do, I think the last time I talked with you, we were mostly committed to doing Roanoke Electric service territory. We have shifted that to move to providing service to the entire county. whether you're in the service territory or not. Now, we will be starting with the small towns. That's just logical. What we found is that you would think that in somewhere like Jackson, they've got good internet service, but they don't. They don't. We made assumptions. So that is good for Roanoke because it creates a lot of density for us to be able to do what the other providers have been promising for years to do in the small towns. And that helps our business strategy to go with the small towns and then build out from there to get to the rural areas. I just want to also say a couple of words about funding and what we anticipate is about to happen, whether it's with the federal government or the state government. I've been in conversations with some of the representatives about some of the funding that is pending related to the COVID-19 funding. Some of it may be available directly to the county. Some of it may not be. But what we're doing, we've also put a team together to go out and seek as many of those grant funds as we can. We believe that shovel-ready projects are going to take a priority. So all of this work we've been doing leading up to this time puts us in a real good position. But we want to collaborate and work with the county. We want to work with you. If there's opportunities for the county to lead, we want to support it. If there are opportunities for Roanoke Connect to lead, we're going to ask you for resolutions of support or letters of support to support our application for what we believe will be millions of dollars that will be coming. And I can tell you that's needed for this build out to really get completed. We need that support. And we'll also be working with the healthcare providers as well as the educational leaders within the county to make sure we do all hands on deck, full court press to try to get this done. Let me pause there, Chairman, and answer any questions you have. So happy to be with you this evening and looking forward to any questions you may have.
Well, I hate to start. I got plenty of them, but I'll let you go on education. Go on. I got plenty of them I need to ask you.
Yes, sir.
And we'll talk about it.
I just have one question. Is the Roanoke Connect eligible for the Lifeline discount?
Yes. And we are, they came up with a new name with the broadband. It's the EBB program. And we've already set ourselves up to offer that to any subscribers that get our service, or not even, I mean, we'll help anyone, even if they're using another provider, we'll help folks sign up for it. So yes, we are. And it's the $50 a month, I believe, assistance to help pay for some of your broadband.
Mr. Edwards, do you have any questions?
No, sir. Enjoying the presentation. Thank you.
Before I guess I could go now, let me ask you about services. First of all, we do know that the Upper Coastal Plain is working with us in attempting to make sure that we get broadband in Northampton County. Have they touched bases with you about Woodland and Rich Square?
Well,
Conway?
right. They have a task force.
Okay.
I think they call it the Broadband Task Force.
Yes.
I typically have 3 people on those calls
Okay.
every time they have one. What we've done, Roanoke, and we'll work with the Upper Coastal Plains. We've prepared ourselves to address those areas. Where I think they can help us is supporting us as we go out and look for funding. But we are on the same page, if you will, with them in terms of our commitment to go after those funds.
Mr. Wynn, this is the part that hurts me the most. When the report came out the last week or 2 weeks ago at Northampton County, we were one of the last in having access to broadband. Northampton County really wasn't just about last place, it wasn't last place. And our concern, this board of commissioners concern how we can partner with you on this broadband situation. We really want to know. And we really, because I've been telling everybody that you're going to do it all for Northampton County. I'll tell you what, when I go to meeting, I tell them, I was at the commissioners meeting, I represent 4 counties, and I'll tell them, well, Northampton got it made because Mr. Wynn down there, REA going to take care of us. We ain't got to worry. And they began to tell me, yes, we want to help them in Alaska, and I think it was Woodland and Ridge Square, some places. And then they also told us something about using the water towers, and that you might want to speak to our water department about using water towers. Right. But the end of this conversation is we need to get some figures on how much it's going to take. We can't do the whole county. We need to get some figures. So we're going to be asking Upper Coastal Plain to help Northampton County, and they're going to help us. But we need some figures, and we need a scope, a plan of where we go to next. For instance, we're going to Ridge Square, then we're coming on to Jackson, then we're going to Garrettsburg, then we're going to Gaston. We just need that plan. I hope your new person can help us with that plan, because we're going to have some funds coming to us that can be dedicated to broadband. So I want this partnership, because there's another company that called yesterday and said they were doing something out on the very eastern end of the state. I got it on my phone, but I couldn't look it up. But there's another company, they were asking us, they want to work with 22 counties, that's what it was, in broadband. But I told them that we got someone who's going to work with us. And I just want to make sure that we accomplish that, because we got too many of our homes that don't have broadband. We got too many our school children who are falling behind because they're not able to connect. So I know you got all the other counties to deal with, but I like to see a specific plan for Northampton County. And in that plan, tell us what it would cost to go to the next town, what it costs to go to the next town, and perhaps with that, give us some figures about, some numbers about how many people in that community do not have, cannot get on. If you could.
We can do that.
You could do that?
Yes, we can do that. We will bring that to you in whatever setting, format, a work session, whatever, however you want to do that. Just tell us, give us a date, because we've already started doing that.
Okay.
We started looking at the towns. I've got every one of them listed, and from our own estimation, we got somewhat of a prioritization of those towns, but it might, with your input, that might change. It's nothing written in stone, but I would love to have that conversation and bring it to you with some budget.
Yeah, that's what we need to know. Yes. Because if we have any funds that we can divert that way, these commissioners, we know that's a necessity, right, in our county. Because we even have some problem with EMS and radio signals, and we're working hard on that. So it's not fair to the people who doing rescue and the police who are not able to connect. So we're very much interested in that, because that ought to be a priority for us. And that ought to be, when we're talking about dollars and coming from Washington, D.C. that can come to the county, we ought to be talking about what we can do to get all of our people connected.
And as on the subject of EMS and fire and rescue, I'm sure, sir, I don't know your name.
Interject right here, if you can hear me. This is Commissioner Boone. While we're talking about the plan that's coming forth, for the towns, I want us to also make sure that we're paying very close attention to small, the small pockets in our rural county. I'm talking about the Bantan roads, the Rehoboth roads, the Cumbo Chapel roads, just a little nooks and cranny, because that's where several of our students are from, and they're having connectivity issues if we're going to still be in virtual space, but not only just in a virtual space, but when you're trying to complete research papers or projects, and you're trying to be online, and you have more than one sibling, utilizing internet access. So, I want us to really pay close attention to that in our plan that's coming forth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think Commissioner Boone, we got this, we talked about this, we got the same concerns. I think what we're talking about when you leave Rich Square and come to Jackson, we want you to skip those folks who between Rich Square and Jackson.
Well,
okay, we want you to stop off all along.
Let me remind you.
Oh, yes,
and
sir.
Commissioner Boone, I appreciate that. And I just want to remind you that that's where my member owners are. It's where you just described.
Oh, yes.
So we're definitely not going to abandon what brought us here in terms of serving the rural parts of the counties. That's Roanoke's bread and butter. So we understand you, and we're right there with you on that, but we just have to have a plan that will get us to where you're talking about. So I'm with you 100%.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Wynn, and I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
So, Ms. Buffalo.
I just want to say thank you for the presentation, and certainly with your quickness and making all of this happen. We appreciate everything that you're going to do.
Thank you. It's not as quick as we'd like for it to be, but it's a process. We always try to keep ourselves motivated by saying we're farther along now than we were 5 years ago. We didn't have the infrastructure we've got now that puts us in a position to do what we need to do. And I know I'm running long on your agenda,
That's
Chairman.
fine. This is important to us. We've been waiting for this. They've been discussing this, and this is really important for Northampton County.
Well, what I'd like to also just offer is just update you on something else that relates to our critical services. There's something out there called FirstNet. And that's a contract that the federal government provided to AT&T several years ago to take care of first responders, like the gentleman right here, just like us. They have the contract, and we have been in contact with them, asking them to do better, because I cannot leave Ahoskie and make it to Roanoke Rapids without dropping twice.
That's right.
At least.
That's right.
At least twice. And our line technicians out there, just like the first responders out there, trying to save people's lives, and they can't communicate. And we have a company, AT&T, that was provided funds and support to take care of that problem. But just like everywhere else, they're neglecting the rural areas. We're trying to bring all of our first responders together to make a loud noise. And there's a meeting already scheduled. You probably will see information on that, where I want to try to get everybody together. And let's talk about how we can attack this first. We've got the infrastructure to help AT&T solve that problem tomorrow if they just use it. So that's another issue that we're trying to deal with. Just wanted to make you aware of that.
Thank you. If we could set up another meeting, it could be a work session, Mr. Wynn, that we can talk about specifically Northampton County.
Yes, sir.
We want to put money where our mouth is.
Yes, sir.
Because this is important for Northampton County. These educators have really said that our children just cannot do their best.
Let's shoot for mid-July.
Be fine.
Or after that time. And of course, I know you and Jessica Smallwood have been talking, and we'll set that up. And by that time, Mr. Coughlin will be on board, And he'll be involved in that.
Thank you.
We'll make that a priority.
We'll probably bring someone in from our upper coastal plain
Perfect.
to be in the meeting with us.
That's
We can all work together instead of do it in parts.
sir.
He doing one part and we doing all. We could come together.
Sir.
Okay?
All right.
July 19th. Let's say that tenders flip for July 19th. We'll have that. It'll probably be in a work session that we can all sit down and look at all the figures and so forth. Okay?
All right.
Any other question, board members?
No, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any questions. Mr. Nguyen, just want to thank you for the great presentation and thank you for helping rural areas get broadband. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Edwards. I appreciate it. Chairman Tyne, it's always good to come and visit with you. And I will be back if you'll have me.
Thank you. You're always welcome.
Thank you. Thank you all. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we shall move to tab 7, which is classification and pay study. Becky.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and
evening.
members of the board,
Evening.
attorney, staff. Thank you for the opportunity to come and talk with you tonight about the study that the county contracted for our firm. My name's Becky Veazey. I'm president of the MAPS Group. My background includes being the HR director in the town of Cary, HR director for Durham County. And since then, for the last 32 years, you can tell I'm old, I have been traveling the state working with local governments all over North Carolina on a variety of HR issues, which include classification and pay studies and personnel policy updates, which is the two things that we have provided for you. So what I'd like to do is walk you briefly through the process and methodology of the study. You can see the notebooks over there. I will pass them out to you. Don't be scared that you have to read that big, thick notebook. Over half of it is job descriptions. So that's the good news, that you don't have to read all that. But I want to just walk you through a little bit on the process and then walk you through what's in the notebook. Leave it with you. Once you've had a chance to go through it, I'll be happy to come back and answer any questions you have at that time. In the meantime, this is very informal. So as I go along, any questions you have at this point, I'm also happy to answer. So when we talk about classification and pay, there are two sides of that coin that we're looking at. The classification side is looking at updating that job description. What is the proper title? Sometimes we need to change a title because the duties have changed or the title's gotten old-fashioned. And then, making sure that we are ranking those jobs appropriately. The pay side then, of the other side of that coin, is looking at what is the going rate in the market for each job, and making sure the county is having a starting salary that will allow you not to have to advertise and scrape the bottom of the barrel when you're trying to hire a competent person. You see 5 reasons there why you need to have a classification and pay plan and keep it up to date. Obviously, being able to recruit, having those starting salaries there, also being able to retain, because what studies are showing right now, lots of employees are looking to leave their jobs. They're looking for better opportunities. And so we're seeing a lot of employers looking at what can we do to retain the competent, qualified folks that we have. And because turnover is so expensive, every time you lose an employee, you're looking at somewhere between 66% of that employee's annual salary and 125% of that employee's annual salary and cost. So being able to recruit and retain employees is vital to helping you obtain that mission and vision that you were so importantly talking about at the very beginning. That staff is who carries that out for you. Internal equity, obviously, making sure we look across departmental lines so that we can help create that internal equity. Not only ranking jobs within occupational areas, but looking across, for example, you don't want to have an administrative assistant in Department A, an administrative assistant in Department B. The administrative assistant in Department A has a more difficult job, but the one in Department B is in a higher pay range. So we're creating in that pay plan that internal equity that we're recommending to you that hopefully then leads to that equal pay for equal work, which is a legal piece of this, but also our underlying principle. Maximize cost effectiveness. I put that there because we actually sometimes do studies where we find organizations overpaying some folks as well as underpaying some folks. Now, we did not find that in your case. The major part probably of maximizing cost effectiveness for your organization is making sure you get to a competitive level so you can hire competent people and keep the competent people that you have. Defensible, there are two parts to that. One is defensible in the legal sense, and there are a number of laws we pay attention to as we do this. Americans with Disabilities Act, OSHA's Bloodborne Pathogen Standards, Fair Labor Standards Act, just to name a few. But the other part of defensible is that what you are getting from us is based on professional methodology. We haven't had anybody whispering in our ears saying, give so-and-so a raise, don't give so-and-so a raise. You are getting professional recommendations. So there are two things that are going on that create the need for these studies. One is, as I mentioned, that over the course of time, duties and jobs change. The other part, and that's the classification side, the other part obviously is the market, the going rate of pay. Everybody knows goes up over time. And most organizations do what we typically call a cost of living adjustment, which usually means kind of following the average of inflation, moving pay up over time. And that's a good thing, but there's a flaw in that. The flaw is that while you're going up on the average of inflation, in reality, some jobs are going up faster than that average in the market, and some are going up slower than that average in the market. So what we do in the study is we look at each individual job and identify what the current market is for that job, assign it to the recommended pay plan. Then you go another typically 3 to 5 years, adjusting on inflation, come back, do another study, and make those fine-tuning adjustments. In your case, from what I understand, the county actually had been 12 years since the last study, which means there really is a lot that needs to be updated in our recommendations. Whoops, hitting the wrong button here. So the steps in the study, obviously the county determined there was a need to do the study. Typically, we do come on site and do an orientation for employees. COVID, unfortunately, prevented that this time, but we did get questionnaires from employees that went through the chain of command, signed off by the department head saying this is accurate. We conducted interviews, Zoom interviews with at least one employee in every different job that the county has to make sure we understood the jobs accurately so we could accurately classify the jobs. Then we pulled all that information together, gathered salary data, put together a draft report that came back to the county in March. Got a little bit of feedback, but not a whole lot, really changed very little. And tonight we are presenting it to you. One of the things that's really important to understand in a classification and pay plan and a classification and pay study is that what we are studying is jobs, not people. The classification plan is a position classification plan, not an employee classification plan. So what that means is the classification plan should be accurate as people come and go because it represents the work that the county has to be done, not the person who happens to be doing that work at the time of the study. We can classify a vacant position and will, if like you want a new position in the budget, if we get a questionnaire, we can talk to whomever's going to be the supervisor. We can write that job description and recommend a salary range for that job. And because we're looking at the job, not the person, some of the things that don't come into play here have to do with, for example, length of service. If we'll pick on EMS since they're here tonight. If there are 3 paramedics, one's been here 5 years, one's been here 10 years, and one's been here 15 years. Again, if the duties are the same, the classification's the same, the salary range is the same. Now, hopefully when we look on the pay side of the coin, we would see them at 3 different places within that salary range. Employee qualifications is not part of this because, again, we're looking at what does the job require, not what does the person have. I like to pick on attorneys here because when I was working for the town of Chapel Hill way back in the 70s in the HR department, we did a study of our bus drivers. Had about 50 bus drivers at the time, and believe it or not, 2 of them were attorneys. They'd finished law school at Carolina, they passed the bar, hadn't found a job as a lawyer yet, so they were still driving buses, which was how they put themselves through law school. So I always say, who thinks you should pay a bus driver with a law degree differently than the other bus drivers? And usually, if anybody disagrees, it's the attorney. And then finally, employee work performance has nothing to do with classification because, again, that's the person. We're looking at the job. We did a study some time back for a really small town. And during the presentation, after I passed out the report, which I'm getting ready to do for you, we got to one page and one of the board members on that little town council just blurted out, "We can't pay this person this much." And I said, "Well, and this was a public meeting. And I said, "Well, what's the problem?" He said, "Well, he's doing a lousy job. We're getting ready to fire him." And so my message always is, if you've got somebody who's not performing, you do need to deal with that person, but you still want to classify the job appropriately, create the salary range that will allow you to hire somebody competent if you have to fire somebody who's not. So I'm not going to go through all of those individually, but those are the factors we do use in determining which jobs are at the same classification level, which ones are at different classification levels. And that first one's mental difficulty. We're looking at work environment and hazards. Is this a job where somebody has to go out at 2 o'clock in the morning when it's 10 degrees outside? Physical effort. Does the job have supervisory responsibility? And if so, at what level of authority? How much supervision does the employee receive? Do they have to make independent decisions, or are they right there with the supervisor watching them all the time? So all of those kinds of things go into our analysis in ranking those jobs. So turning back to the pay side of the coin now, there are 4 primary components in most compensation systems. And just to show you kind of how what we're doing fits into that overall context, I want to just walk you through those 4 very quickly. And again, first of all, the first one is the main focus of what you've asked us to do, to update the job titles and the salary ranges. And you can almost think about that as the infrastructure of your HR system. When the pay the classifications are not accurate, when your pay ranges are not competitive, then it pulls everything else out of kilter. It puts stress on all the other parts of your human resource system. The second of the 4 is typically called a cost of living adjustment. We call it a market adjustment because what you're doing is you're moving your pay plan up over time, moving the hiring rate, moving the maximum so that you're keeping up with the market in between studies. If you did not do this, and your competitors do, then what would happen is over time, their hiring rates would be going up, yours would be staying the same. It would get to the point you could only hire people no one else wants, which obviously is not where you want to be. And one of the other key pieces of this is keeping down that cost of turnover, which, as I mentioned earlier, is just so expensive for organizations. The third of these is that once you have pay ranges established, there needs to be some method of moving employees across that range. If you don't have that, then you end up with something we call compression. Compression means that, you know, if you've got a salary range that goes from $20,000 to $30,000, and that's a low one, let's say $30,000 to $40,000. And let's say you've got employees who've been with you 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 years. If they're all right close to the beginning part of that salary, that's what we call compression. And that is one of the things that creates the most dissatisfaction with employees and the most turnover. It's one of the things that contributes to that turnover that we talked about. So having the starting salaries accurate, but also moving employees across that range so they're seeing some progression is what this number 3 is talking about. Some places do it based on length of service. Some do it based on performance. That's completely up to the county. It's just important to have that there. And then the final one's longevity pay. And longevity pay is usually awarded in lump sums. Some places do it in early December, so it kind of doubles as Christmas bonus. Other places do it on the anniversary date. I believe y'all are anniversary date. Of the 4 parts of the compensation system, that is considered the 4th priority in terms of the overall impact on organizational effectiveness. I think there is the perception that longevity is a retention piece. Actually, that range movement, moving people across the range, is a bigger retention piece than longevity pay from what we're seeing based on studies. So let me walk you through and pass out these notebooks. So I'm just going to walk you through what's here and again, answer any questions you have at this point. Leave it with you, give you a chance to go through it, and then come back and answer questions once you've had that chance. So you have a cover letter, a cover page, a table of contents, and then the rest of what is in front of that first blue tab are organization charts. Those organization charts represent recommended job titles and, as we understand it, your current organizational structure. If you go to that very first blue tab, pages 5 all the way through page 23 is a narrative department by department description with basically a paragraph on each job. And that paragraph will tell you a little bit about current duties, any special requirements to do that job, if we recommended a different title, why, and then do we see that job as pretty similar to what the other jobs are in the market? Is it stronger or not as strong as the other jobs in the market when we did the pay analysis? If you turn with me on over to page 25, behind that first blue tab, you'll see there at the top of the page the places that we gathered salary data from. And those percentages you see are the averages or the percentages from the starting to the maximum salary in their ranges. We base each pay grade placement for each job on the starting salary, and then this tells us how far above the starting salary the maximum needs to be. So for example, if a job is in a range that goes from 30 to 45,000, For 30, 45 minus 30 is 15. 15 is half of 30. That's a 50% range. So that's what those percentages tell us. We have calculated over on page 26, one implementation strategy so far. We can calculate other implementation strategies. But what we try to do, what this strategy does, number one, is it puts the most money where employees are the most underpaid. So it does not get everybody where they should be. It gets you along the road. Because, getting you closer to where we want to give you something that might be affordable, that would help bring the most underpaid folks up and get your starting salaries at least at a competitive position. However, we can calculate additional options, and after you've had a chance to look at this, we'll be happy to do that. There are just some notes there at the bottom. First of all, the salary survey that we did, and I'll show you where that is in here. We did that in January, which means effective July 1st, the same places that we surveyed are doing those cost of livings, which means this pay plan is accurate right now. July 1st, it will need adjustment again. The second is that what the dollar amount you see there is salary dollars only. It does not reflect the cost of benefits associated with that. And obviously, it's a snapshot in time. That can change over time. If you look at page 27, that's actually a look at your compression. Even with implementing the study, you still have significant compression. What you hope to see there is sort of a bell-shaped curve. What you have is a ski slope, and a ski slope is compression. And what that's saying is that if you look at the numbers there to the left, you've got 180 people of your workforce, the vast majority, just in the first 10% of that pay plan. And with the number of employees you've got that have more service with the county, they should be spread out more. So that's a picture of that compression. Page 28 is the actual pay table. And you have a hiring rate there and a minimum. And the reason we recommended a minimum is that when you bring an employee in at the hiring rate, once they complete probation, we recommend you move them to minimum and get them out of that hiring rate. That helps your compression, but it's also a good recruitment tool to be able to say to somebody you're trying to hire, in 6 months, you're eligible for a 5% increase. And because a lot of your competitors do that, this makes you more competitive as well. If you turn on over, starting on page 29, and going through page 32, that's the actual pay plan itself. When you adopt the classification and pay plan, that's actually what you would be adopting. Following that, starting on page 33 is the actual salary data. So you can actually see the same salary data that we gathered and that we analyze. So you can see what each of these different places pay. At the very bottom, you can see your current range and the recommended range. Obviously, some places didn't have a match for every single job, and that where you see blanks, that's what that is. If you go on over to the policy tab, the next blue tab, behind that are some general management recommendations, and they take you through page 7. On pages 8 and 9 is a benefits survey, so you can see how the county's benefits compare with your market, with the same people we gathered salary data from. And that's on pages 8 and 9. And then there should be a beige employment application there. We'll be giving that to the county digitally so it can go on your website. It's form fillable, and it's an up-to-date modern employment application to be used. And then following that is an actual new personnel policy. Your policy had not been updated. It had been kind of pieced together. To update it, we felt like it was going to take so many amendments, it would take forever. So we basically are giving you a new policy that has all the most recent court cases, laws, regulations, and that takes you all the way to the last class specification. Last blue tab, which is the class specifications or job descriptions. And those are in alphabetical order. You can see that's a good half of this notebook. We recommend that you leave these administrative, you adopt the title, but leave the language in the job description administrative. That allows, if department heads need to move things around just a little bit, if HR needs to add something or delete something like a certification requirement, or something like that, it allows the county to do that. And all of this is available digitally to the county. So that's a real quick overview, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have at this point.
Board members, you have any questions? A lot of information. Lots of information for you to digest and go over. You have any questions?
I have one question. I can't get back to the page, but with the dollar amount that you were stating that it would start, what is your recommendation in terms of the process or time frame in which to get us completely where we need to be?
Part of it depends on how much you can afford each year. So what we do with organizations is, if, for example, if you said, we think we can afford a little bit more than this, or we can't quite afford this amount, if you give us a dollar figure, we will calculate an implementation strategy that's with what you say you can afford this year. And then let's say, this year you did this amount, and next year you said, okay, we see that compression, we want to address that some more. Here's how much money we can put to it. We will help you with an implementation to do that as well. That is page 26 behind the very first tab. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Board members, do you have any other questions? Let me say how appreciative I am that you've done this for us. You've given us lots of information. We got to digest it and go through it, and that's what we will do. To all of our employees that are listening tonight, we want you to know that we desire that we would to look at where we are, what we can do to move our personnel according up on the scales of whatever by this study. I want our personnel to know that we desire that you would be paid for the work that you do, and the only way we know to do that was to bring in someone who specialized in this effort. What we personnel this year, starting July 1, all of our personnel will get a 2% bonus, 2% bonus of your salary. And the reason we did that is because we didn't have this out yet to work with. But this will give us an opportunity this year to put in place what we will have starting next July. So the 2% bonus was to help us to get some time that we can use this study. I want all employees to know that your salary will not be decreased. So let's make sure you understand that. However it comes out on the scale, you will not have a decrease in salary. Some folks will say, well, they reclassified, but perhaps my salary will not be the same. But this is given to us that your salary will not be decreased. Those of you perhaps have an increase, and then you wait on time for the scale to perhaps catch up with you or you with them, whatever, and then we will start with the increase. So employees, what I saw, I got a small version of this. What I saw, board members, and I've read through this. I want to make sure, because when we start talking about 2% bonus, I want to make sure we're making the right decision for this time. But what I saw is there's nothing about this that says that we can't get started on this. There's nothing about this study schedule that says that we cannot get started. We'll be looking at this starting July for next July, so we won't wait till the end of our budget time to make a decision. But your people and all the people in departments will certainly see the new schedule, and it's going to work well. I got to say, what I saw for some of you, you're going to be smiling, really smiling, when we, according to this that they've given us. So that it's going to be more plus than it is minus. Minus means that you wouldn't receive an increase, but according to this, it would be a plus. And it'll be about how much money, as she said, that we can afford before we can fully implement it. And it might be we can fully implement it next year. Who knows? Let's be positive about it. That means our employees receive better wages. Board members, any other comments?
I do
Any other
have
comments?
a comment.
Yeah.
I like this because, we want to see and make sure that our classification or our pay plan is equitable.
Yeah.
And, that was, one of the things that I remember reading through the slides regarding the internal equity, equal pay for equal work, and I get to thinking about regardless of your sex, regardless of anything else, it's just equal pay for your equal work. And, that's important to me. And I believe it's important to all of us. And I look forward to moving forward with this on behalf of our employees.
Any other commissioners?
Since we're not implementing option 1, July 1, what would that option look like dollar-wise for July 1 of 22, 23?
Let me address one thing that you make the decision on what you want to do. But what I wanted to just plant a seed about is anytime you spend money where you're doing lump sum bonuses, you're spending money that's not addressing your compression. You can take that same 2% and build it into base, and it will reduce the cost of implementation. When you do it in bonuses, it's not going to reduce. It's not going to get you any closer to where you need to be. So that's just one thing for you to think about in terms of how you do that July 1st, and it may be too late to do anything.
It is too late.
But that's just going forward.
Yes.
I think it's important to understand that anytime you do bonuses, that doesn't help address compression. It's because it's separate from that base pay. The base pay is where you're addressing compression. So given that, then next July, to be where you would be with this, you would need to take what's here plus the 2% this year plus next July's 2% to get to where this would have put you. Sure.
All right, board members, we spent enough time on this without having you to have read it. We're going to thank you for coming, and we will be back in touch with you when we hire an HR person, that person will be back in touch
Super.
because there'll be a year's work for that person in HR.
Thank you for the opportunity of working with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. We appreciate it. Really thorough. Really thorough. At this time, let's move forward. Mr. Paul Newby.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and the Board of Commissioners. A couple of things that were brought up before is I wanted to comment on Mr. Wynn brought up about the broadband technology that's going to be important to EMS because I think telemedicine is going to work its way into our EMS in the future. And also another thing is important is this recruitment and retention for paramedics and EMTs in the future. But the main reason I'm on your agenda is I know before, I think you've had some presentations where North Carolina Medicaid is changing from fee service to managed healthcare plans. And there's 5 plans that pertain to EMS, 5 contracts, and they're listed in your packets. Basically, our billing company is one who extracted those different plans that we need to execute. I looked over them. I sent them to the county attorney, which he has looked over them, and they're up here for your approval. We already participate in the North Carolina Medicaid program. Basically, what this is going to do is about 63% of our citizens here in the county have moved to one of these prepaid health plans that are listed in your packet. And we can continue to bill, but if we do not sign one of these agreements, then the money is not going to come back directly to the county. Thank you. It's going to go to the person, and it's going to be up to them to get the money back to the county. So in a nutshell, that's what is something we are already doing. We already have a contract with DHHS, and basically we're just moving that about the same wording to these 5 prepaid health plans for our citizens. And I think in the long run, from what I looked at it, I think it's going to be better for our citizens. And Ms. Green and myself we had an audit of our billing system, and I believe that I think the county is going to get more reimbursement out of it. I think we'll wind up getting more reimbursement from these contracts. And I'll entertain any questions.
I see on the contract, there's no cost to us, board members. No, there's no cost to us as taxpayers' money being used there. All these pages, God bless you, attorney.
We've been, yes, sir, we've been battling this since February, and it's gone back and forth. It's been very confusing. The state has changed it several times, and finally, they got it down to where these 5 that what we need to do, and so that's where we're at tonight, trying to get this done. And the deadline, they're stern about it. It is July the 1st, and matter of fact, before I came to this meeting, they sent me an email, want to know what we're going to do. Yeah. I said, well, we're on the Board of Commissioners tonight to decide.
Board of Commissioners, what you want to do? I'm open. What is your pleasure? Medicare provider agreements. Our attorney has looked over.
Chairman Tyler, I make a motion that we approve the contracts
Thank
for
you.
NC Medicaid.
Thank you so much.
With the contractors, AmeriHealth, WellCare, United Healthcare, Blue Cross and Blue Shield. I believe Blue Cross and Blue Shield
Yes.
was in there twice.
It should be AmeriHealth, Carolina Complete, Healthy Blue, which is Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, and WellCare.
Thank you for the correction. I make a motion that we approve.
Can I have a second? Moved and properly, motion by Ms. Boone and second by Mr. Edwards, Commissioner Edwards. we would approve the Medicare Providers Agreement. Are there any questions? If not, all in favor, let know by your sign aye.
I, Buffalo.
I,
Chairman.
Faulkner.
Hi, Edwards.
Ayes have it, motion is carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I need to ask you,
Yes, sir.
there's been lots of, on the television about the vacancies that in particular some counties have had with EMS. Can you tell us tonight how many vacancies we might have in our county?
Right now, we are full staffed. It's a difference from last year where we did have 7 staff members leave over a period of time. And it caused us not have any employees. We couldn't attract any employees. And you can probably look from our balance sheet there that we had to incur some additional overtime costs to cover those shifts. But right now, we're fully staffed. One big thing that did help out within the last month is the decision by the commissioners to do with the insurance situation. That really helped out. We've got a lot of inquiries from a lot of counties, other people who would leave and come here to Northampton. So right now, we're full staffed.
That's good news.
We're doing good.
Durham, we got over 20 plus, looking for 20 plus people in that position.
We have people, right now, I have no doubt that if we put out applications right now, we'd have quite a few applicants to come here because we do provide a better working environment. Sometimes it's not all about the salary.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's about the working conditions and the support you have, and surely support from the commissioners and the administration and stuff. So it's not really all about the money. It's benefits and other things that goes into it. And we are fortunate enough to have up-to-date equipment, up-to-date technology. We just underwent about a $15,000 upgrade in technology, where the other day, all our devices, you remember back a few months ago, Casey Griggs came up here and demonstrated that pumping machine.
Yes.
Well, those things now, we've integrated all that technology, and those machines, our technician was actually using one on a citizen, and that machine contacted me to let me know that it had been turned on and it was in use and how many compressions it did. And then it transferred all that information into a monitor, and then from the monitor to our care system where we report patient care. So it's very modern. So when a technician comes to work here, it's not like other places where they're having to do stuff on paper. Everything is transferred electronically. So, and that's a big plus.
Thank you.
Recruitment.
Thank you. We just want the citizens to have that information too. And it's because of good leadership. Thank you for the leadership that you provide in that department. And board members, I want to thank you all that last year we went to Conway and we acquired that facility. I get information from EMS workers how glad they are to be in that facility. And I want to do right now and say to the town of Conway, thank you, Conway, for giving us what you promised that you'll give us for that building each year. I want you all to know that Conway have come through. I'll be in touch with Severin, but want you to know that. And he said it right. The reason people want to come here because we got good equipment and good sleeping quarters. The whole process is just excellent. Okay.
To be a small county like we do have state-of-the-art equipment and stuff that we provide to the citizens.
Thank you.
And one thing we're going to do in the future, I make this announcement that we did just put a new medication on the ambulance, which was state-of-the-art. One of the first ones in Eastern North Carolina is called ketamine. And we've administered that in the field. And two things that we're going to do in the future is we're going to integrate ultrasound technology, and our supervisor is going to start carrying whole blood. So that means that we should no longer have any county residents who's involved in an accident or whatever bleeding to death. And that's going to be a giant leap into technology, but we're going to do it.
Thank you. Good report. Excellent. We appreciate all you do. Any way we can help, please let us know. So the new rescue squad truck last year, over $100,000 was just wonderful. Okay, at this time, let us move forward. The next thing that we have is the planning board appointments. You have a list of the planning board appointments. That District 1 we've added, and that district is District 2
And one at large
and one at large.
that we,
Tina Watson is at large, and District 2 is Russ Powell. Russ Powell.
Russ Pilot is the one that's up to vote on tonight, Mr. Pilot, and from Woodland, North Carolina, District 2.
Board members, could I have a motion from you that Russ be added to the planning board?
This is Commissioner Faulkner. I make a motion that we approve the appointment of Russ Pyland from Rutland, North Carolina, District 2 citizen for the Northampton County Planning Board.
Have a second?
Second Buffalo.
Second by Commissioner Buffalo. Motion was made by Commissioner Faulkner that we would add Russ to the person on Russ Powland from Woodland to be part of the planning board. Any questions, any discussion? All in favor, let know by you sign aye.
Aye, Buffalo.
Faulkner.
Boone.
Ayes have it, motion is, thank you. Ayes have it, motion is carried. Thank you so much, board members. There's still one more vacancy. We'll be asking you again, two more vacancies. We'll be asking you again for your recommendations. When you get those from your district, please let us know. Some of us are fortunate. Our districts are well represented, and we like for all districts to be represented. At this time, Sally Surface Day Resolution, Scott Keller, the County Attorney.
Thank you, Chairman Tyner. Before the board is a proposed proclamation honoring Sally P. Surface, and I will read the proclamation. Whereas Sally P. Surface is the Executive Director of Choanoke Area Development Association of North Carolina, also known as CADA, a nonprofit corporation that has served Northeastern North Carolina and Northampton County for nearly 60 years. Whereas Ms. Surface has served CADA for 38 years, first as its Manager of Community Services beginning in 1983, then as its Executive Director since 1991. Whereas Ms. Surface's distinguished tenure with CADA will come to a close with her retirement on June 30, 2021. Whereas under Mrs. Surface's able stewardship, CADA has partnered with Northampton County community to seek resources and implement programs that foster CADA's mission of assisting families and communities to build assets and better the quality of life. Such programs including, among others, Head Start, Early Head Start, affordable housing and rehabilitation, the Weatherization Assistance Program, disaster recovery, and emergency food and shelter programs. Whereas projects realized in Northampton County by CADA under Mrs. Surface's leadership include Choanoke Meadows Housing in Rich Square, the conversion of Woodland Only School into senior apartments, a family resource center in Garysburg, the Support Our Students program at Garysburg Elementary and Rich Square Creasy, and a new Head Start Center at the Roanoke Life Center in Garysburg. And whereas the Northampton County Board of Commissioners wishes to honor Ms. Surface for her dedicated service to CADA and to the people of Northeastern North Carolina. Now therefore be it resolved that the Northampton County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim August 22nd, 2021 as Sally P. Surface Day in recognition of her steadfast leadership during her tenure at CADA and for the lasting impact she has had upon Northampton County and its citizens. Be it further resolved that a copy of this proclamation be adopted into the official minute books of the Northampton County Board of Commissioners as a lasting testament for the appreciation the county has for Sally P. Surface. This is the 21st day of June, 2021.
Board members, what is your recommendation? This is a resolution. Could I have a motion to approve this resolution? Will be a part of the festivities that they will have in honor of her.
Chairman Tyner, I'll let you go since you were on that board. I was waiting for you to speak up.
I make a motion that we adopt the Northampton County Board of Commissioners proclamation honoring Sally P. Surface for Sally P. Surface Day, being proclaimed on August 22nd, 2021.
Second.
Moved and properly second. Motion made by Commissioner Buffalo, second by Vice Chairman Faulkner. We would adopt this resolution. Are there any questions in the discussion? Any question, any other discussion? If not,
I just want to thank Ms. Surface for her service.
you do.
I've seen a lot of students who participated in some of those programs and a lot of citizens' homes that they were able to live in comfortably because of that weatherization. So I just want to thank her for her leadership and trust that her next endeavors in her post-retirement time will be enjoyable.
May I add to that? I don't know where Northampton County would be if it wasn't for CADA. Back in the years, this was the organization that helped the poor in the county, especially with housing, job opportunities. So again, I say you're exactly right. This was life of Northampton County. CADA. Even summer
Education.
program. Yeah.
Education of families on how to become homeowners. That was,
First
yes.
yes. It was just great. Any other question, any other discussion? If not, all in favor, let known by you sign. Aye.
Aye, Buffalo.
Aye, Faulkner.
Boom.
Hi, Edwards.
Ayes
Mr.
have it.
Chairman,
Yes, yes, sir.
I've reached NC State, so I'm gonna have to sign off now, okay? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ayes have it. Motion is carried. Thank you so much. Let us move forward. We have next with us Avalorian Tax Appeals, Tax Matters.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
I'm here tonight to obtain the board's approval to release Avalorum taxes and assessed in the amount of $641.11 on 3 appeals. Attached here too is a listing of the property owners who've requested appeal to the Board of Commissioners on their behalf for release or refund of tax to which they seek relief as provided in General Statute 105-381.
Board members, if you have any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion at this time that we would approve Avalorian tax appeals.
Chairman Tyner, I make a motion that we approve the release or refund of Avalorium taxes assessed in the amount of $641.11 on the 3 appeals as noted.
Okay. Could I have a second?
Second, Buffalo.
Second by Ms. Buffalo. Motion was made by our Vice Chairman. Are there any questions in the discussion? If not, all in favor, let known by you, your sign. Aye.
Aye, Buffalo.
Aye, Faulkner.
Boom. Aye, boom.
Ayes have it. Motion is carried. Thank you so much.
I thank you. And can I say one more thing, please?
Yes.
I just wanted to thank our county attorney, Mr. McKellar, for helping me out with the Board of Equalization Review in the month of May. We had an accident in my house with my daughter, which stopped me that first time, and I was on vacation the second time, but I just want to thank you for your help with that.
It's my absolute pleasure. Thanks for all you do.
I appreciate you.
We Appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Okay.
You're welcome.
At this time, we're going to deal with budget amendments. As all of you know, it's coming to the end of the year, and we must make some adjustments for this year. And we're going to ask our finance officer to please come.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have 6 budget amendments tonight. Budget amendment number 45 is to allocate funds for non-departmental EDC expense in the amount of $178,995.28. Budget amendment number 46 is to allocate funds for the Phase 6 water project in the amount of $2,200. Budget amendment number 47 is to receive insurance proceeds for the sheriff's office in the amount of $3,058. Budget amendment number 48 is to receive grant funds from Enviva for our walking trail in the amount of $15,000. Budget amendment number 49 is to allocate funds for departmental expenses in Fund 11 in the amount of $666,200. And budget amendment number 50 is to receive funds for our asset inventory assessment project, and this is grant funding in the amount of $150,000.
Board members, you've had all the budget amendments. Our finance officer is trying to make sure that we are ready for the closing of our books on June 30th. And I do want to say to you all that yesterday, I was in another office and she came running there where I was and said, we just received $150,000 from the state of North Carolina for the water program. So that'll go into our account likewise. You saw that amendment, that's why it was late today, okay? And what she's done is adjust those items that need to be adjusted where some items were over, especially in EMS, and she had to adjust, take it from one department, put it into another line item. But this will perhaps be the most of adjustments we'll make. Might be 1 or 2 more when by June 30th, but this will help her to balance her books. And I really like the way we do it. We don't wait till the end of the year to bring all these budget amendments. She keeps up with them every month. And then by doing it that way, yeah, you're right. Every 2 weeks, really. She keeps up with it, bring it to us, and so that we don't have any surprises. You've had the budget amendments. Do anybody have it? Oh, let me also say to you that while you're doing the budget amendment, those things that we spend on the architect, like the courthouse, we are spending those funds. But those funds, both proceeds, will come back to us from USDA. I just wanted you all to know that will be included in the funds that we borrow. And if we decide that we will not borrow that amount of money and let this subtract from it, there'll be an option that we'll have with those funds. I just wanted you all to know that. That's why the large one's given to you, because we are paying for all those things right now, so that we will not be all day getting the courthouse ready to begin work on it. Are there any questions y'all need to ask the finance? And I want to say to you all, to the board members, and I know we haven't made this motion yet, but I want to say to you all, it has been a pleasure of mine to work with Tamika. I want to say it loud. I would be lost in trying to do these things as an acting county manager without her and her assistant. When it comes to the budget and the financing, she knows it. Doesn't even have to go look it up. She got it in her head. She knows numbers. And I just want to commend you. And then we'll see what the author say again when he does our books. We'll be in June 30th, and he'll get our books. We'll see what they say. But I promise you, they're going to be. He'll say even better things about the county, because she's cleared up those items that he even would ask us to look at. So I just want you to know that the room for improvement is here, and we're improving. At this time, could I have a motion that we accept the budget amendments as given?
I make a motion that we accept budget amendments 45 through 50. Did that cover all of them?
Yes, ma'am.
45 through 50 as presented by our finance officer.
Second.
Would probably second that we would accept the budget amendments as given. Are there any questions in discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
And that's maybe after we approve this, I have a question for you. No question.
No question. Okay. All in favor, that know by you side. Aye.
Aye, Buffalo.
Aye, Faulkner.
Second.
Thank you.
My broom.
Okay. Thank you. Now, Commissioner Faulkner.
Citizens sometimes find out things faster than we do. So the $15,000 that we just received from Enviva
Yes, ma'am.
for the walking trail. Okay, I had a citizen call to ask about $1 million grant or funds we received for the Creasy project. I just want to go on record. Have we received, I'm aware of the funds that were sent by Dominion through the foundation, the nonprofit, which was about 5,000. And I was aware that funds were coming from GFL and from Enviva potentially. So we'll see, are there any other funds other than those 20,000, the Enviva and the 5,000 that you are aware of?
No, ma'am.
For the Creasy project?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I just want to go on record. Trust, we are doing, we spend a lot of money from the county money, not from outside agencies, especially working on that gym, to do as we promised our citizens we would do with putting recreation in the corners of our county and the more of the community. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Coming from our finance officer.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know where that came from, but want to clear it up. Yeah, so we all on the same page.
On it today too.
Yes. Let's make sure we're at the same page.
Yeah. Okay, let us move forward. Let's see, Kim. Citizens' comments. Do you have any citizens' comments? Interim county manager comments. Let me make some as interim county manager. This is an experience, folks, indeed. But tonight I still stand to say thank you to the best employees in the world. You all know that I was principal school for 25 years, worked in superintendent's office for 6 years. And I've never had a group of people any better than the people we have, commissioners working for us in this county. I want to thank all of you for all your time and all your effort. I want you to know that this week, that Bob Murphy is coming to help us in these duties. We still have an opening for a county manager. And if there are any persons who are interested in that, please do fill out an application. We'll start interviewing those. Mr. Murphy is going to help us with that process. And we look forward for him coming in to help us with our county business. Everybody know him. He's been with us before. He's experienced in this, and he's planning to come. He wouldn't come full time. He's retired, and and he wanted to spend time with his family. You know, he has some options when you retire. But we're just glad that he would come and share with us and be in our office to help us some days during the week and carrying out the duties of the that we have to carry out. I'll still be with him and joining him. We'll be working together through this process, but he'll be working and helping us to not only find a county manager, but look at the other positions that we have likewise. I need to say to the you all that we've gone through the big hurdle, and that is our budget. I want to thank you for helping us go through the budget process, and we're just looking forward to greater things and good things happening in Northampton County. That's all I need to say as the interim county manager. Unless there's some questions you all need to ask me in that capacity. Any questions you need to ask me, commissioners, any questions? Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, Ms. Edwards in particular. Ms. Buffalo in particular. Thank you for helping us with some personnel matter, interviewing and so forth. Thank you all for answering the phone when we call you and helping us through this process. I just want to say thank you. This time we'll start with commissioners. Let's go with Commissioner Boone first. Commissioner Boone, any comments you'd like to make at this time?
Sir, I don't have any additional comments at this time. Just looking forward to, go ahead.
Okay. At this time, how about Ms. Buffalo?
Just want to thank all the volunteers for the food distribution in Seaboard on Friday. We appreciate all that they do. It was hot out there. It was a lot of food, but we got through it. Thank you.
Thank you. How about it?
Just want to thank everyone for those who are tuning in via social media or Zoom or however you're connecting with us, for being active and involved and taking up the challenge of picking up that phone and dialing our numbers to ask us the questions that you may have. It's nothing like feeling like you can get the answers without having to seek your answers from the second hand, third hand, or even further down source. So we are truly embracing our citizens and want you to be a part of our committees and organizations within the county that are furthering the mission of moving Northampton County forward together. And if you have any questions and you want to volunteer to be on any of these committees, most of the appointments are by district, but there are some at-large appointments, so that even if your neighbor might be on the committee, it doesn't mean that you could not as well. Definitely reach out to our clerk to the board, and there's an online application, or you can come by and pick up an application, or go to your local library and have it printed off for you if you're not an online kind of person. So we just want to encourage you to stay involved, stay active, and let your voice be heard, because everyone matters.
Let me say to the citizens, we are hoping that towards the end of this year, we'll be able to carry our board meetings back to the towns, to the communities. So we're looking forward for COVID, and remember, it's not over. I think today the report said there were 9 cases in Northampton County, 9 cases. So I just want you all to still let's be careful, and let's make sure that the people who are around have been vaccinated, have the shot, because it's not over. There's still 9 people in our county, and we're hoping that we will still wear masks when we need to, and to certainly keep our hands washed and stay a distance from folks that you don't know whether they have it or not. I want to say that our small businesses have really, I didn't know that the amount of money would make us such a difference. Small amount of money would make a difference in our small businesses. But I had one small business owner to tell me this evening, that's the reason I'm doing it, because he said to tell this Board of Commissioners, thank you so much for thinking about small businesses in this county. That money certainly came in when he needed the most. He didn't tell me what he needed for, but thank you. I want to say that to you because he wanted me to say that. I also want to note that we know that the calls came into the manager's office about the Board of Education, and the subject we probably don't like to talk about, but the subjects I talk about is about the raise for the board members. I want to tell all the board members and all the who are listening that we have not received any such request from the Board of Education. So I just want to make sure we go on record and let you know that we have not received it. Also, likewise, I want you to know that in the Daily Herald's paper, there was quoted there that perhaps a raise, it wasn't said that we had received a raise, but we could give ourselves a raise. Did y'all interpret it that way? Remarks that were made that we were in position to do so. But I want to report that in Northampton County, I've been on this commissioner board for 5 years. There have not been a single raise, a single dime given to the county commissions other than that we started with 5 years ago and for our meetings. So it is want to make sure the public understand that we have not given ourselves a raise. If you look at the budget this year, it is decreased. That line item says for board, for commissioners have been decreased because we made up in our mind that we're not going to travel all over the world. We're going to take care of making sure we know what we need to do by attending commissioners meeting in the state of North Carolina from our state commissioners group. But we are not going to use taxpayers' money to travel anywhere unless we know when we get there, there's going to be something for us, something in it for us. We know it's for us. We're not going to do it. So let me clear it up that we have not received, the records will show, any increase. We have not voted on any increase. This year, we decreased that line item because we wanted to save and do all we possibly can to use our money for the citizens of Northampton County. I think I've said enough there. There any other discussion, board members, that we need to have this evening while we are in session? I would entertain it at this time. Other comments? Again, I think our vice chair said it best. If you got a question, all you got to do is call and ask. You can call. If you don't want to call me, call someone else on this board. They will get you the answer. I think Ms. Faulkner just spoke of one person who called and said we had millions of dollars for Rich Square Creature School. That's not true. So if you want the truth, call us. We'll give you the truth. There's nothing in it for us, no personal gain. We're just in it because we love our county and we want to do what's best for Northampton County. At this time, I would entertain a motion that we will go into closed session.
I make a motion that we enter into closed session pursuant to General Statute 143, 318, 11A6 personnel, A3 attorney-client privilege, and A4 EDC report.
Could I have a second?
Second, Buffalo.
Been moved and properly seconded. We go into closed session according to those statutes that she just named. Are there any question, any discussion?
Yes, sir.
All in favor, let know by you sign aye.
Hi, Buffalo.
Hi, Faulkner.
I'm sorry.
All sleep. Ayes have it. Motion is carried. Thank you all for coming. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining. 4th of July celebration will be in the county, and we certainly hope that all will join in the 4th of July celebration. I forgot to announce it, but it will be a 4th of July celebration
On July 3rd,
on July 3rd.
July 3rd at the Cultural and Wellness Center.
Okay, thank you.